Some men wait for the world to give them a path. Addison Henderson built his own. From Buffalo's East Side to independent film sets, he's forged from nothing. He's lived the truth most men avoid, that mastery comes from choosing the harder road, the one without applause, without certainty, without shortcuts. While others chase Hollywood's approval, Addison sharpened his craft in silence, riding through the night, directing his own stories, betting on vision over validation. His films aren't entertainment. They're confrontations with death, with faith, with the man you choose to become while no one's looking. This is what masculine excellence looks like in real time. Ownership, discipline, creation without permission. Welcome to the Alpha Renaissance with Addison Henderson. First off, thanks for coming.
Absolutely, man. You already know. You already know.
It was, very nice of you to participate in this.
Absolutely, man. You know, I've been following you. I've
been
following all your stuff.
Yeah, man. It's been going well. I'm enjoying it. You've been a creative, like, your entire life, right?
Yep.
So joining the creative community with this podcast is cool. It's a totally different brain.
Yeah. Your excitement was like, it was palpable. Like I saw you, I think you was heading into surgery, and I saw you was like, man, I just keep thinking about this. I was like, oh, my man is in it.
Yeah.
I was like, he's in it. And it was very exciting. I was happy for you, man.
Yeah.
Because when that bug hit and when you got something going on and you can feel it, it's like unstoppable. It's like nothing can stop you. You know what I mean?
And yesterday I posted something about that, talking about the momentum.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's one thing when you have a vision, you plan it out, you execute it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most nerve-wracking part. You execute it and you don't know what type of response you're going to get.
Yeah. And
then like first week, second week, we're getting this massive response, right? People want to come on the show. They want to be a part of the Renaissance, and it makes you feel good, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like this momentum. At certain points, it was so much where I was like, man, I kind of wanted to put like a top on it. Then I had to remember, like, no. Don't try to control it. Just ride it.
Ride the
wave, baby.
Don't go against it. You ride it.
Yeah.
That reminds me of I was 24 years old when I did like my first professional film. And it was a documentary called The Forgotten City, right? And it was something based on the murder of my best friend, and we dove into living in the inner city and the things that we deal with and why do people do the things that they do.
Yeah.
And I'm young, you know what I mean? So I brought a lot of cats from the east side of Buffalo, and the east side of Buffalo is the hood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you don't want to hang out over there, but I put them on the movie because I knew that this was their story. This was our story, right? And I knew that we were the best ones to, no matter experience or not, best ones to do it, right? So saying that, we did that over the course of the year. We shot it, and then I'm thinking to myself, do people really want to hear this story? Do they want to hear this story, right? Mm-hmm. And then we needed money. I went out. I'm young. Me and my co-producer, we didn't really have much money then.
Yeah.
But we went out, spent $1,200 on camera, sound, just started filming.
$1,200.
$1,200.
That's the good old days.
Yeah, that's the good old days, right? Yeah. And I put together a trailer. Got a trailer together. I swear, the momentum within 2 weeks had $30,000 in the bank.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? People came on. A company came on, gave us a check for $10,000. You know what I mean? Community leaders came on. You know what I mean? It was just $5,000 check. It was like, I was like, okay, momentum. People do want to hear this story. And then when we actually premiered, we just these young kids, you know what I mean? 6 sold out shows.
Wow.
People
movie
theaters. Yeah. 6 sold out theaters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
which is huge,
man.
Yeah.
Over 1,000 something people came to see this kid's documentary about a personal experience, a tragedy, and how I turned that into art. But then also a way for people to kind of understand where I come from, who I am, and what we deal with, right? And it just went on to get worldwide distribution, success, film festivals. I was at the Stars Denver Film Festival showing this movie, right? And competing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, this is the path, follow the wave. You know what I mean? It took me to my next thing,
Yeah, man. How how did you even have the confidence to even know that like this is a story that people want to hear? Like, what was your process that early on? What were you just sitting there, just perseverating, just like, how can I create this idea? Or you just like had the idea and you just went with it?
You know, I went to acting school in New York City. I did a program at HB Studios, studied with Edward Morehouse, Austin Penn, and really some really great people, right? And you know, I learned how to direct for stage by doing that program. And I was like, okay, I'm an actor. I'm gonna go out to LA. And I went out there. I was like, 19, 20. Went out to LA, pursue my dreams. And
so when you went to Buffalo, you went back.
I went back.
So you had already left.
Yeah, I had already left.
Dude, that's always ballsy. Like, I always respect people that'll get up and leave.
I left.
It's because the thing is that you really do, like, you're a guy that really, really loved home, right? You came back and told a story about home, at home, with home.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
But you left, though.
I left. And that was always...
It's ballsy.
Yeah, and I was always going to leave again. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't the place that I was going to stay, but I was like, I'm always going to tell the stories of my home.
Yeah.
Because my home gave me my soul. It made me who I am. And I love my city, even though I don't live in my city, but I love my city. So I'm going to always go back because it gave me so much.
Yeah. It always behooves me that, like, so many people feel as though when you leave, like you're turning your back on your city. Like, oh, how come you didn't do it here? But it's like, hey, in order to get things done, you have to go to different places. Like, if all the answers are where you are, then you're asking the wrong questions.
Right. No, absolutely. Right. And in adventure though. You know what I'm saying?
You need that exposure.
You need that adventure, man. And so, for me, my father, you know what I'm saying? He was a missionary, but also his church was a part of the Underground Railroad in the city of Buffalo. But what he did was, when I was like 12, he put me on a plane. He had friends in Trinidad. He put me on a plane. He said, all right, there you go. You're going to Trinidad for the summer, right? You're going to turn 13 in Trinidad. And I was living literally in the backwoods, man, like cutting down sugarcane. My boy, he was climbing because he was from there. I met him. You know what I mean?
Your family is like what? Like just like Black American?
My father is German and Black.
Okay.
And then my mother is just Black American.
Like like multi-generational.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Right. And so I'm in Trinidad, right? And like I'm like, out in the woods, cutting down coconut, sugarcane, doing all that. But I'm staying not with Black people. I'm with like Indians. Like, you know what I mean? Like the real Indians, like that were there with Columbus. Like what be Indians from India? Oh no, like India, because it's a British, it's an old British colony. Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So basically with like Hindus and stuff. Yeah. So I'm there with them, and I'm learning their culture, right? And so this kid, right? He, another Indian kid, he says the N-word because I was like, yo, whoa, hold up. I was like, yo, you can't say that. I was like, I'm Black. He was like, you're not Black. I was like, no, I'm Black. Right? And I had to explain to him, right? But it was those little experiences for me, right, that allowed me to be like, okay, I know I can deal and I can understand people instead of blowing a gasket, right? How do I explain to someone what it is to change their mind? You know what I mean? And so I think that that's helped me throughout my whole life. You know what I mean? You mean it like is like your life has benefited from you, not telling that dude, hey man, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Exactly. Being like, no, this is how you. Let me explain to you. Let's talk about this instead of blowing up about it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Man. I feel that. I mean, it's so many things I could jump on about that, right? Because like, and it's a bad conditioning that we are, like, as Black people are taught. Like, if someone says something that offends you, particularly about race, we feel very liberated to react. Absolutely. Harshly. Oftentimes, I believe, overreact, right? But, and some people may feel like, hey, rightfully so, I have the right to, my ancestors went through this, my ancestors went through that, and like, okay. But you don't win. You don't communicate anything with whatever group of people that you're interacting with. You just blow up. You just blow up. And what's after that? Okay, so what's blow up? Then you blow up, right? And then what happens after that? You got kicked out. Exactly. You got arrested. You're the one. Yeah. You're the guy. You're the guy now. You're in jail. Exactly. I always tell people, I'm like, when I go to football games and all that stuff, and like, I don't participate in the back and forth with other fans because if you do something to me and I do something to you, but if I hurt you, I'm the one that's in trouble. Now. Like, you know what I mean? I play it cool.
Well, nobody saw, like, even beyond race, right?
Yeah.
Like, nobody saw what that guy said.
Exactly.
Everybody saw what you did to that guy.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly, man.
It's a lose-lose situation, man. And you just, that's funny, we had similar experience. I didn't know that because, like, when I was younger, I went to Damascus, Syria. I went to boarding school there.
Okay.
So, like, my 14, 15, like, my young teens were in the Middle East. And being again, multi-generational Black kid from the South Side of Chicago, I had no conceptualization of who I was outside of myself, right? I had no idea how the world looked at me, which blew my mind when you go overseas, because you forget, like, you don't know, like, you're an American, like, this is where the party is happening. People overseas know more about America and Americans than Americans do.
It's true, though. That's why it's particularly why they probably come over to America and thrive.
100%.
You know
like,
what I
they
mean?
they know your story. And so my story was, man, I'm a kid from Inglewood, Chicago. It's poor. It's messed up. When I went overseas at that age, we're talking like late 90s, early 2000s, right? People were like, oh my God, like, you're from, like, the richest place on earth. And then I was like, wait a second. Yeah, I am from the hood, but I'm also from one of the richest cities on earth.
Exactly.
Like, wait a second.
Grand history. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, and it was mind-blowing because you realize that everything is just a narrative.
Yes.
It's just a narrative, man. Like, it's just a narrative. Like, it impacted, like, I'm sure when you came back, you felt empowered. You had a different lens of things, of how you would create your own stories.
Absolutely.
Because you had that exposure.
Absolutely. But then, because, besides my filmmaking and all of the things I do entrepreneurially, I'm about the kids. I'm about young adults, teenagers. I'm about college kids too. I go back to my city and I give back. I teach workshops. I'm an artist at large at one of the colleges, the local colleges at home, because I gotta leave this world empty. I gotta leave empty, man. You know what I mean? I gotta give back. I gotta help people get to their dreams, right? It's nothing more that warms my heart more when I'm seeing somebody accomplish their dreams. And I love to do that. I love to help people do that. And so when I say that, a lot of times you have to find that voice, right? Find your voice. And I had to find my voice, throughout all the stuff that I've been through. But I took everything from my childhood to, to my adolescence, to my adulthood, and I used it for my art. You know what I mean? And it drives me, and I'm thriving because I found my voice within me.
Man,
you know what I mean?
That find your voice part is like, again, starting off as a creative now, right? As a 41-year-old creative, right? The finding your voice part, like, every movie that I've seen where, like, whatever, the Jersey Boys or whatever, when they find their voice, like, I think about that part in every movie now, because you can talk, it doesn't mean you have a voice.
That's true. And sometimes when you find your voice, your friends change. The people you hang around sometimes are just not the same people no more, because they say you change. So maybe I have. Yeah. I've changed for the better. And you know what? They can go, they'll have their other friends and you can still go back to them. But yeah, sometimes the people around you just change when you find your voice, because they don't recognize this person, because now I'm out of my shell. I know who I am. I know what I'm supposed to do out here. I know how to give. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, some of the cats I used to run with, I just don't run with no more. You know what I mean? And, some people are here for a season. And some people are here for a lifetime.
Totally.
100%,
man. You mentioned that your father, you mentioned that history of the Underground Railroad in Buffalo. Something I didn't know until a couple of years ago was Frederick Douglass is actually buried in Buffalo? Or upstate New York?
I believe it's upstate New York. Upstate New York. Not in Buffalo, but upstate New York for sure. Yeah. Upstate New York and Western New York, they play a tremendous, they had a real big hand, right? Because we're right next to Canada. You know what I mean? When people say you're from Buffalo, they'll be like, "Oh, you from Canada, right?" That's one of the jokes.
Right.
Because I used to go to Canada all the time when I was young.
Niagara is there.
Yeah, Niagara Falls. You got Toronto, which is like an hour outside of Buffalo.
Yeah.
You know, so we spent our times partying in Toronto when we were young. But you know, that whole area, man, I've been celebrating Juneteenth since I was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it just became a national
You guys
holiday.
became free first.
Yeah, exactly. Right? That part.
Screw you, Galveston, Texas.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all celebrate Jan 1.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah, man. But you know,
how does that influence your work?
It does, man. It does a lot because I tell you, my father's church, Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
People from China, people from Mexico come.
Yeah.
When my father was alive, they would come to the church to hear him talk about that times, right? What was it like when you had people coming to try to get you know, enslave people and bring them back down south, but they're hiding in the church, right? And then right next door to the church was the Niagara movement, right? It was a building there where, you know, Mary Talbot and all those people, they came and they created the Niagara movement, what later became what we know now as the NAACP. Oh, wow. So I was brought up in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a museum now, my church. And then right across the way, where the house I grew up in, the Nash House, is now also a museum. You know what I mean? And that was part of, you know, Black culture and, you know, uplifting Black culture. So these two places I grew up in are now both museums. So for me, it filled me with a great sense of pride. Not only to be like, okay, Black history is right here in my city, but I'm a part of Black history.
Yeah.
I'm a part of the thread of Black history, because if it wasn't for my father and my family, that church that's now a museum would have been torn down. It was almost torn down, right? And now it's a monument, right? You know, it's a celebrated monument in our city and all over the state. You know what I mean? So for me, it fills me with a great sense of pride, but it lets me know that, you know, I'm a part of it as well.
So you're a young man, 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
You have all of this.
Right.
You go to LA.
Yeah, I do. I go to LA. I went right after I played a year of football, upstate New York, came back. My best friend was slain, you know, wasn't in the street, nothing like that. But then I'll tell you a story. I was driving my car, right? And I was in the hood, like, you know, going to visit my friend. I'm in the hood, like that's where we from, you know what I mean? And I'm parking my car, right? This cat pull up on the side of me, roll his window down, and he's got a shotgun pointed at me. And I'm like, I hadn't turned my car off yet. And so my reaction, thank God I'm an athlete, I swerved out in front of the car, did 100 down the side street, and into oncoming traffic, got away. A week later, I left. I was like, life is too short for me to be not pursuing my dreams. And I don't know how that happened to me. I'm a cool dude. I'm not in the street. I don't do nothing like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Happening. Like it was something about the hood at that time.
Yeah,
where the unpredictability,
mistaken identity, whatever it is. And I was like, I'm out. Went to. I have family that live in Jersey City and Newark. Went there. Was couch surfing with all my family. With my family, going to the HB Studios. So 20 years old. But I'm in the end of my 20th year. I'm out in LA now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, I was meeting people because, I was just out there meeting people because I had met people at the American Black Film Festival. I used to volunteer there. Yeah. And I used to see people that looked like you, like me. They were making movies. Yeah. They were on TV. They were winning awards.
Playing piano. Like really like crazy, like talented. Like flutes.
And I'm like, okay. I was like, this is I'm already lean, and I was like, I can do this. Yeah. I can do this. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then that's when I just went. And after that incident, I said, I'm out. I'm going. And that was it.
Did you notice like I always wanted to know about like Black Hollywood, right? When you first came to LA, what did you see Black Hollywood? What is Black Hollywood? Like
I saw Black Hollywood. I wasn't necessarily in it yet, but I saw it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was on, like, you know, my Jeff Friday is my uncle. He actually runs the American Black Film Festival. It's in its 30th year now. And so, you know, when I was a kid, he exposed me to all this stuff. You know what I mean? When I would go to Jersey when I was young, he would take me on a train when he was like promoting Amistad and like, you know, marketing that movie. Yeah. He'd be like, okay, I got this idea for this film festival I'm gonna do. And he would take me on a train. I would go. He would go to business meetings, you know, like the old school with his leather briefcase. And I'd be sitting in the waiting room.
The key to open up the lock.
Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. That shit.
My dad had one of those.
Yes, okay. Like, my dad did too. You always thought you open that shit up. It's like a gold light. You know what I mean? And I can remember him coming out of that meeting, Jeff, and saying, yo, we got the deal. We're doing the festival. And it took off. Yeah. 30 years, HBO, every year is a part of it. It has started some of the greatest careers. Ryan Coogler won the HBO short film competition and went on to spark his whole career. Yeah, you know, he's one of the top directors in the, you know what I mean? Yeah. In the world right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I saw that and I was seeing this and I was like, okay, I can do this. Yeah. And I took my life, my training, but then also my personal life, and I infused it into everything I was doing. My emotion as an actor. You know, the things that I had been through, you know, my storytelling. I just used my life, and that's how I found my voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But how many attempts did it take you?
Oh, man.
Because that's another thing, right? Like I feel like every day I come into the podcast studio, I'm a different podcaster. Like it's like I'm trying different things. I'm trying a different method. I'm asking different questions. Every time I look at one of my podcasts now, I mean, I've only done maybe 20 something. Okay. Every one of them are different, right? And it's like, okay, like I used to notice this back in the day, like when like a new rapper would come out. That rapper, Drake, for example, to me, when Drake first came out, he sounded like whoever he was rapping on the song with. Like he mimicked that style. Like the early Drake, the very early Drake. Yeah. And then then he started putting out songs where you were like, oh, what's that? Right. He was like, oh.
He's finding it.
That's Drake's voice. He's not rapping like Wayne. Right. He's not rapping like Nicki. Like he's rapping like Drake. And then he found that voice and took off.
Took off, right?
Yeah. So you started finding that voice.
I started finding that voice, but it took a lot. Yeah. You know, I got short films that I would never show nobody now. Like when I was like stepping into the realm of being a director, actor, and directing myself as an actor, you know, when I was, you know, I was just in the lab. Yeah. You know, putting concoctions together, man, like a mad scientist. And, you know, some of them fell flat. You know what I mean? But I never gave up. I was like, I'm going to find it. And then I started to find it in my writing. And then I started to find it in these documentaries. And it was just you know, those hours, they say to become great at anything, you got to put those hours 10,000 hours, right? Yeah. You know, I know I'm past those 10,000 hours because like, it just never stopped with me. You know what I'm saying? Even when I was like on set working with Chadwick Boseman, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I was taking it all in and like, I was never stopping. I was like grounded in my work, you know what I mean? In a way that you couldn't tell me nothing. I knew what I had to do. And, you know, I think back about some of the people that were in my life that would be like, oh, no, you can't do this. Oh, no, you can't do that. And I love that shit, right? Yeah. Because, you know, not only did my parents instill me with great confidence, but I walk through life with knowing that I'm here to affect change wherever I'm in something. Like I'm supposed to be part of the change effect. And so with me finding my voice, knowing that's what moves me forward. Like, okay, I got a job to do.
But you had to be like discouraged at some points.
Absolutely.
Like what were those? What did that feel like? What did that look like?
Yeah, man. You know, in the beginning, when I'm in acting school and it's not going right, that's discouragement. But and it's, you know, sometimes you want to give up. Like sometimes I have tried to be like, let me go ahead and sit this down for a minute. Let me try something else. I swear, within a couple of days, I get a new idea. And I'm like, okay, no, we got to do this like that. You know what I mean? But then also, man, you know, I always say faith is a hell of a drug. Yeah. And without faith and belief in myself, but then also belief in my spiritual belief. Yeah. You know, because I grew up religious. I'm not religious, but I grew up religious. And in turn, I'm like, you know, spiritual person. I talk to God in my way. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
What's our generation, that happened to us. Like man, I used to think just like, hey, if you like non-religious Americans were not black people. Like black people, we were religious of some sort of fashion.
Absolutely.
Like being spiritual. I think black religion is a type of spirituality. Like a part of our culture is being spiritual and being connected to God, typically in some organized religion. Then millennials kind of came along and we were like,
exactly.
Like, so Google.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I kind of discovered some things. I'm not sure if this is all exactly true.
Right.
And then some of us like left, some of us came back, some of us in this in-between world.
Yeah, man, I can't go to church no more, man. As much as I'll go with my mom when I go home because she'll ask me to go.
Yeah.
And I'll go, you know what I mean? But for me, I'm more like I have my own personal relationship with God, right?
Yeah.
The creator, right? I have my own thought process and I know I'm a good person, right? And I know what I do for others and I got a good heart. I'm not perfect at all. Far from that. But like I just can't because I just grew up in church and man, you just see so much.
Yeah.
And you just like, okay. And when you was young, you just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
And then like as you get older, you be like, what the?
Yeah.
The hell is this, man? I got to find my own path. You know what I mean? Because it's discouraging when you being taught one thing and you see another. It's just like,
Yeah. You
know what I mean? So I just found my own path, man.
I asked that because like when you look at like Givers of Death.
Right.
It's spiritual.
Absolutely.
Like it's very spiritual.
Absolutely.
And I was wondering like what were your beliefs at that moment? Like when you created that film, right? Like were you still in the church or like were you just in a spiritual moment where like you like kind of like how you describe like this conclusion where you came to right now?
Yeah.
What was your thought process on spirituality?
When I came up with that, like, me and Chadwick Boseman, we were rolling together tight. I was like, you know what I'm saying? I was with him on set. I would watch the monitors and we were training together. We did martial arts and we trained together. I worked on a bunch of the movies with him. And, we always had these spirituality talks. Like he was very spiritual and, and same here, growing up the way I grew up. You know what I'm saying? I still think I could categorize myself as a Christian, I guess.
Yeah.
But I was deep in some spirituality because I was trying to find out a lot of different answers, right? Mm-hmm. Because one, I was watching my friend going through what he was going through, battling the cancer, what he was going through.
So you knew about
Yeah. You know what I mean? That was something that, only a few of us knew about, but I was there watching him battle. And then I had all of these questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
For God. You know what I mean? Why does this have to happen now? Right? At the pinnacle of everything.
Yeah.
Why is this happening? And so I began to dive in and just ask the questions, and I read a lot of books. I read the books of Enoch. I read, so many crazy books, right? You know what I mean? Like I read books about women serial killers and why they did what they did. I read, you know what I mean? The Behold the Pale Horse. The books on the occult. And so I'm just coming with all these things, and I was just like sitting down. We were in this park. It was me and Chad. We were in this park. We were watching Jaws. It was summertime. We were watching Jaws in the park, right? And we were just chilling. And I was like, yo, I got this idea, right? And this is before the pandemic even happened. I was like, yo, what if it's this disease that, is so bad that people, when they get it, right, they hurting so much that they have somebody come and end it for them, right? And he was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, but how you going to do that? I was like, I know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to write it first. I'm going to write it and I'm going to flesh it out. And then I'm just going to do it. And I was in that moment, I was asking a lot of questions because I was like, why? And I think, when we talk about existential things, right? Yeah. Like, why are we here? What are we supposed to do with our lives? And that's a theme that's going through that goes through a lot of my work.
Yeah.
And I was searching, right? Not only was I going through that, but then I was also going through a divorce, right? Mm-hmm. And that theme, the theme of loss was in there, right? Because like, okay, I have a daughter that I love so much, but me and the mom can't get along. And you think like, okay, what are the issues that are going to arise when this divorce goes through and there's no coming back for the adult relationship, right?
Yeah, and your character also is a guy who's lost his wife.
Exactly,
his daughter,
and his daughter. So see what
nuts.
I'm saying? It's all a part of my voice. It's all a part of, you know what I mean? I use...
He lost the wife and the daughter to the disease. Yeah, which
right?
is interesting because
you know
it mirrored your life.
It mirrored my life.
Losing your wife.
Right, it mirrored my life. And then I had to give them, my wife says in the thing, you have to, right? I have to give them the thing. And that's how I ended up becoming the kind of Kevorkian of the thing. You know what I mean? Of the movie, right?
Yeah.
That was the start of it.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you another moment in the movie is when, which I didn't have to do this, but it kind of mirrored it. When the kid's dog, which was me, my character, in the beginning, like in the early part of the movie, he has to kill his dog because his dog got hit by a car.
Yes.
In that same parking lot where we shot, I found my German Shepherd. He had got hit by a car and was dying right in front of me.
Oh no!
Right, and I felt that moment. In that moment, that I wanted to give back the people that did that to him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and in the back it was the burning bush, right?
Yeah.
You know, and that's something I pulled from the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? And being a person that grew up in religion, and some of those stories sound so fantastical. It goes perfectly with science fiction, apocalyptic stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's all kind of like, you know, it's all a part of my life.
Yeah,
a lot of it.
It's so much that you put into that, where like your own personal story, your own personal meaning, all these life events that happen to you, and then even the questions that you were asking about your spirituality, the tribulations you were going through in your personal life. You put that all there on Givers of Death, man.
I put it all there, man. Yeah. Even like the main character, the other guy, the big guy who got it, who I had to take out at the end. Like he's like, I'm afraid. Yeah. All of that is from my life, man. All of it, and it was like, you know, a lot of people say that they could see my heart. They could see our hearts right on the screen. You know what I mean? Because it was real, man. Yeah. It was real. That film is like one of those real moments, and that lets me know that I have to keep using my voice. And to second that, a full circle moment, that film festival that I used to go to and like aspire to be at and to like, you know, want to be. Yeah. That film, Givers of Death, was up for Best Director. I was up for Best Actor, Best Screenplay, all the awards. And I ended up winning Best Screenplay. And it took my career to another level. Wow. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. All from me saying, okay, my voice is what matters in my art. I'm going to use it, and I'm going to, you know, kind of use my life as a conduit to, you know, when I hit a brick wall, I just throw paint on it. You know, you wear all these hats too, like you mentioned, right? Like writer, director, actor. Those are diametrically opposed positions on the team, right? Yes. It's like, you know, you got to be the quarterback and also the catcher, the lineman, and also the defensive end, right? The level of control a director has to have on the set versus the vulnerability that an actor has to have. Like, how do you balance that? How do you manage that when you're wearing so many hats? Yeah, it's a good question. Balancing it is hard sometimes, but you have to trust the people around you. But then also, leading up to it, you got to put in a lot of work. You got to plan things out. So that way, you plan things out so much that when you go in, you can play. You know, and I got to trust my DP. And I say, hey, this is my shots. This is what I want. This is what I'm trying to convey. I got to talk to my chief lighting technician and say, hey, this is what I want the mood, the lighting to be like, you know, beforehand. So that way we're in symbiosis. Like, we're just one organism living together. You know what I mean? Because that's what it has to be on a film set. Whether I'm just a director, you know, my actors have to be with me, lock and key, and I have to trust them, you know what I mean, to do what they do to make my script better. You know what I mean? Because that's what actors do. They come in, they see the written word, and then they'll go in and be like, hey, what about this? What about that? Right? And that's why I love great actors and working with good actors, because they take the script and make it better. Yeah. And so with wearing all those hats, I had to do a lot of work in pre-production. and sit with the character. Like this is.
So what was that like? You in pre-production? What does that entail, right? Like your character development, finishing scripts, brainstorming.
Because
writers.
I'll tell you about Givers of Death. Now, this is, this doesn't really happen a lot, but from the moment I wrote the script, like started writing a script until we had a cast and crew screening, all took place in a matter of 9.5 months. Now, for a indie feature to, write the script, raise the money, shoot the movie, and then have a screening, generally takes a couple years, right? My next film that I'm doing, my next theatrical, my narrative film, it took me a couple of years to get off the ground, right? We just hired a casting director, you know what I mean? Like yesterday, to cast our movie. But, that it was such a powerful project, and what was going on in my life, it was like a wave, right? So, I write the script, I get in, I got to raise money, but I'm raising money, but then also I'm like, okay, I'm location scouting. But when I'm writing, because I shot it in my hometown, I already know where I want to shoot stuff.
Yeah.
So I just need to go and see it so I can pick it out exactly how I want. But then there's also some new things that, that I got to go find, some new locations. But then there's also people in my town or creatives that I brought on that I've been working with for 15, 20 years, ever since the early days of me as a filmmaker, right? And some of them are here, some of them are here, you know what I mean? But they all want to work with me because they enjoy working with us. They enjoy working with me because I love collaboration. I'm not like, I need to have all of that.
Yeah, you weren't one of those directors that were like, don't change the lines.
No. I want you to change the line. If it feels right coming out another way, play with it. Yeah. I think that's the way you get freedom from your actors. You know what I mean? And I change my own lines sometimes. Because I want them to feel free. I want them to feel like they're a part of it. They're not just coming in and saying their lines and going home. You know, I want them to feel like they are a part of the organism, and we're making art, making something real. And look, we didn't have that much money. We took the money that we had and made it look like $3 million, but we didn't have $3 million for that. But we put our minds together and we said, okay, how we set up shots? How can we make this big and thematic? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I feel like, again, too, like going back with this, like for people starting a creative journey, especially if you're starting it older, right? One of the easiest things to do is to throw money at it because you're older, you have money.
Yes.
Right? As opposed to when you were younger or you watch these kids, they figure it out and produce great content.
They do.
With hardly anything, just phones, right? Basic mics, if that. But the thought process is there, right? How do you maintain that basically that cinematic honesty when you're making a film where you want to keep it raw, you want to keep those talents palpable and visually pleasing to the audience, but sometimes it's easy just to throw some money at something, right?
And sometimes you do need money to throw at things. You know what I mean? It makes things easier sometimes, but for me, the art always comes first. And even with this, I show ran and co-directed a docuseries about Bill's Mafia, which is coming out in 2026, right? Big project. Yeah, big project, huge project.
Again, taking it back to Buffalo.
Yes, exactly. You know what I mean? And, it could be easy to just throw money at something, but I told these guys, I said, listen, the characters come first. Yes, we have this brand that people know, right? Bill's Mafia, right? And this football team, but it's not about that. It's about the people. It's about the people. The characters come first, And so with
us,
the characters are some fan fanatics. Yeah. A fan that's literally was given 13 months to live.
Oh wow!
And like he's like, okay, how's my family doing? But how's the team looking? Like, like really uncovering, because I'm a fanatic for my team, uncovering what it's like to be in a football
be a Bills fan right now, by the way. They look good. I said the Bills.
Oh yeah, the Bills looking good, right?
Look good. Like, like back in the day right now.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so it's like uncovering what it's like to be in a football cult. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the characters. But for me, it always comes back to the heart, man. I wanna do things that are great. Like I'm telling you, Taki, when I'm able to like see people's response, and like they really take something in, or it's not about awards, but I like winning awards. I ain't gonna even lie.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
that,
Why not?
Yeah, well, like it's that.
Killed it.
Yeah, it's like winning a championship,
Yeah.
and that feeling that you get when you done that, like it fuels you, bro.
Yeah.
Like you want it. You want it again. You want to feel it again.
A lot of people when they're home watching these award shows, right? They're like, yeah, who wants an Oscar? Stupid award? Like, who cares? But like when this is your realm, when this is your industry, like, yeah, the Oscar is a big deal.
Absolutely. The Golden Globe is a big deal. The Emmy is a big deal. You know what I mean? This is like you said, this is your realm. This is what this industry can be so hard, divisive, insidious. But if you stay in it and you're able to make a living, right, and do your thing. I was telling these kids the other day, I was like, Anthony Bourdain, he wrote his first book. He was like 41, 42 years old.
Yeah.
And he was like,
they probably think it's like so old.
Right, I know, right? I know. They're like, oh man, it's old man. But he was like, how does it feel? And they would ask him, how does it feel? He was like, man, I'm so happy. I can pay my bills now. I can pay my rent on time. And I'm actually able to make a living at this art, this craft that I've been working my whole life at. And then on top of that, you're gonna give me something that says like, man, I did good. Like I don't necessarily need it because I know when I made some good shit. But then on top of that, man, it's just like it's a great feeling, bro. Yeah. I can't deny it because people say this shit don't matter.
It does.
And it does, man.
Yeah.
It does.
It's a tough place, bro.
Yeah,
Like it's a beautiful place, but like it's so easy to get sucked up into the industry, man. How do you navigate that? Like you're married, you got a family. You know, LA either makes you stronger or destroys
breaks you.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I tell my daughter sometimes, I'd be looking at people out here and I'd be like, see, don't do drugs. Like you could, don't do drugs. Yeah. You could end up sane and then go insane. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? And then trying to be a part of the industry, trying to get in, going to all the parties, over drinking, overdoing this, overdoing that, losing yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't lie and say like, oh, there wasn't times where I was like maybe doing too much, but I always caught myself. You know what I mean? I always caught myself and brought myself back to reality.
Yeah.
And I was
like, that Diddy party sounds fun.
Yeah, but no thank you. I've never been to a Diddy party.
Stay away from the all-white Diddy party.
Stay away. You know what I mean?
But that stuff, I mean, it's real because, unfortunately, it's not a meritocracy when it comes to like the industry, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of things, people get promoted and pushed just because of who they know.
Exactly.
Who they screwed, men and women.
Yep.
By the way.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's not like, like some objective criterion that determines if you'll make it or not, right? It's a lot of subjectivity that you have to navigate to be successful in the industry.
Absolutely. Even with actors. Why an actor doesn't get another job, why she could be the best actor or this guy could be the most best actor. I remember when this casting director was said to me, she was like, look, this girl didn't get the job because the director thought her butt was too big. I was like, now what the hell I got to do with her, like her face on screen doing the thing? Like, you know what I mean? Or this, he has certain proclivities that he didn't like. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it's so minute between like being like super successful, like by
it's in millimeters.
It really is. It's it's a game of inches, like the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
It's so that's why for me it was always about how do I make my own way? How do I take my destiny into my own hands and not let these powers over here say, no, you're not good enough, when I know damn well I'm good enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know what's inside of me. So for me, it was always a part of I'm taking my destiny into my own hands. Nobody's going to tell me what I can't do. And I've been able to make a living and thrive doing that. You know what I mean?
That was one reason behind you wanting to make your own films.
Yes.
Like, you know what? I'm not going to wait for someone to tell me that I'm good enough. I'm
exactly.
just going to be good enough.
And, some people like, I have mentors and, that have made it within the studio system. And they have made a lot of money, but then they also feel hamstrung up in there. You know what I mean? And they're trying to break out and do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
some of those dudes, it's like, right? And so some of those dudes are working with me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and so, it's always greener. It's always greener over here, over there. But it's about finding that balance, bro. It's really about finding the balance for yourself that works for you, so that way you can stay sane within this.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean.
I mean, and I witnessed that. I remember one year, man. It was I was in LA for reasons I won't say on this podcast.
Okay.
I needed somewhere to stay.
Okay.
I was like here for a weekend, and I told Jamar, our mutual friend.
Yeah.
I was like, hey man, what's going on? I need to crash at your place tonight. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, come by. Like, you know, we have this thing we do once a month at somebody else's house where you guys, you know, would get together and barbecue and just like hang out. I don't know if you remember this. You might not, but I popped up. It was like super random. I was just probably like, hey, bye. I'm just gonna go like lay low. But it was a great event, man. Like great energy. I love that you guys did that, right? Because everybody was a transplant, right?
Yes.
And you guys still found a way to make this community.
My house was the hub for that.
Yeah, like, I think it was your house.
It was my house.
I'm
because
pretty sure it was
I
your
used
house.
to but here's the thing, like at least twice a month, there was a party at my house. It was all artists and all people that we had created our own Black Hollywood network right there. Right? We were all thriving in our 20s and just like looking to make it and all that. You know what I mean? And that's how I got tight with Chad and everybody, because I would have everybody at the house. Sometimes we'd be auditioning, reading through our lines and doing all that. But you have some drinks, we have barbecue.
100%.
You know what I mean? We'll have a good time.
You kept that, like you kept like good people around you. And I remember I left. And it was like, man, you guys welcomed me with open arms. Everybody was super cool, right? A few months later, I'm like, Black Panther. I was like, these people look familiar. I was like, that guy's like the Black Panther. I was like, oh, these guys chat. I'm like, oh, these people look familiar. You were on the red carpet with these guys. And I was like, oh my God, I partied and hung out like with the cast of like Black Panther.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
And everybody was just beautiful. Like you would never have known like what some of the giants you had in that room. Yeah. And Chadwick, he was one of them. Yeah. You know, he was one of them that was just like,
and just cool, down to earth, right?
Man, it was so ridiculous. Like I would have never thought he was anyone.
Yeah, if I can bring you back to the spirituality aspect of it, right? Let me just go there real quick. When the spirituality part played a major part, because when I had came back, when I had left to go make my movies, when I had came back, I'm about 25, 26, and I was like, I met some characters that probably, artists, the artistic world, sometimes you can be some really low character people. Yes. You know what I mean? Yeah. And, unfortunately for me, I had, but fortunate enough, I was able to go through that so I could be taught, but then also so I could then ask God. I said, God, can you please show me my tribe? Can you please, can I get the wisdom of Solomon? And can I, have enough discernment to know who my tribe is? I tell you, dog, within a year, I had my tribe. You know what I mean? And so for me, that was that spiritual aspect where I asked for something and I was looking for it, because you don't want to be out in LA and be all alone. You can't
survive here alone. No. That's the crazy thing about it. And I think that's why it's so easy to fall into a black hole, because you need a squad.
Yes. You need a squad, bro.
You do.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's really important, because, you got to build your family where you are. Yeah. You got to build your family where you are. And I asked for that and I looked for it and I got it and it worked out. Because now I don't deal with, unsavory people. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm on now, obviously now I've built myself up now, like, and I know, I'm like, nope. My wife be like, what about this person? I'm like, nope.
I mean, that's how it ended up at your house, right? Yeah. Like you can hang out with LA people and dude, like they just kind of come out of a bag on you. Like the culture, someone that's trying to make it, someone that's ambitious in an individual sport, totally different kind of animal.
Yeah, absolutely. You saying like someone that's like, say that again? Go back to me on that.
Like a person that is ambitious in an individual sport, that's a totally different type of animal, right? It's one thing where we're ambitious, but I know I need a team.
Yes.
We're a community. We check on each other. Like I know I'm not no one without my team. Tom Brady is no one
exactly
without the team.
Everybody needs a team.
Right?
Yes.
Otherwise, you could be a psychotic golfer.
Right, true.
But like, it's an individual. Like, Hollywood becoming an actor, like being in the industry, like it's an individual sport in that sense. Like, people are fueled by their ambition.
Yes,
and you have to worry about the unsavory characters and stay away from them as much as possible. The problem is I'm sure when you get here, they're difficult to recognize.
Absolutely, because
you're young. You don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let me do this, let me do that. But I met some good people, and I met some people obviously that I don't talk to. But it just comes with going through it, right? It's like when you go through things and they teach you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, all right, I know what's best for me. I know not to do that again. And it's just a part of being in LA. It's just like, in the business world, man. Like you were saying, it's not a meritocracy sometimes. Sometimes it's not.
Sometimes it's not.
It's just you got to deal with it.
You got to deal with it.
I tell my daughter, like my daughter goes to Campbell Hall, one of the best schools out here, right? Private school. And we talk about certain things. And I'm like, look, life is not going to be easy. You know what I mean? You got to fight your way through. Like, she's an artist, but she's also an athlete, right? She's into karate, she does volleyball, but I'm like, listen, you got to be prepared for what life's going to throw at you.
Which is also, being an athlete is also very objective, right?
Yeah.
You either catch the ball or you don't. You
right.
either can shoot or you can't.
Exactly.
Right? You can do it or you can't.
Yes.
Completely different
right.
again from the industry.
Yeah. It's like either you do it or you can't. Exactly. But for me, my life's journey, I think, because I am an educator as well, has been just me going through things too. So then I can now bring it back to other people. Me having success and me having an algorithm on how I can do things, so I can then go and say, hey, I know you're not going to listen to everything I say, but I can help you.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that is one of the major keys of my life. Because like I said before, bringing it back, if I'm leaving here empty, right? And I've given all I can to my craft, and I've given it to other people, then I have had a successful life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of LA, it's a lot that has changed here in the last few years, right? Mm-hmm. Particularly around AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
AI actors, like that, the strike, wild, right? All of that stuff. Like, what's going on in the city? Because I feel like all these producing hubs / studios are popping up all over America, whether it's in Atlanta, Georgia, Louisiana, Nashville. What's happening in LA where people are leaving? Are they leaving?
I still know a lot of people that are here.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Some people are leaving because they don't have to be here to do their job. Like, a buddy of mine, Chad Michael Murray, like, he's here sometimes, but he's been in LA for 20-something years, but he moved back to Buffalo because he's like, I don't necessarily have to be here all the time. So he's like, I just Airbnb my house out, and I got my other house in Buffalo. The pandemic has changed a lot.
Changed our mindsets, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah.
And, we became more technological. Like, look at us. You know what I mean? You don't now a pitch, right? An audition. It used to be like, okay, I'm like how I'm meeting you right now. I'll go in, we feed off each other's energy. Now it's like, do it in front of this computer screen, and let's have this pitch meet in front of this computer screen. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Right? You probably can get more done and you can see more people that way, but it changed, right?
But also too, right? The audience is going to watch it on the screen.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the day, right?
They are going to watch it on the screen at the end of the day.
It's like things change, and like we still don't know if they change for the better or the worse.
My thing
TBD.
Is, yeah, to be determined. My thing is that I tell people this all the time. I was like, I am not going to become a dinosaur. I'm going to, I got to follow the wave because it's not going to change. Technology is only going to continue to grow. AI is only going to continue to get better. So how do I integrate it into what I do?
So what is AI doing now, and how is that affecting, like, what is it doing in your realm? How is that affecting actors, writers, directors?
A lot of times with this docuseries that I'm doing, like, it's helping. Like, with, when you have like little hiccups on set, it can fix it. Like, you want to, you need somebody to say something. You use the voice to say, like, It's been.
I know it can take it. I mean, there's editing software where like they can just make a person say something, right? I mean, we see it all the time, like on the social media, right? With these deep fakes. I mean, it's amazing what it can do.
But like back in the day, Marvel and them, they used to have to put a bunch of cameras in a circle and do all the pictures and all that stuff. And now they can just do it so effortlessly. Put your face on another body. They was doing all that to do that back then. 100 of these cameras or more. But now it's just boom, do it so quickly. I'm like, saving money. You know what I mean? Now, do I want an AI movie, a full AI movie? That's not what I'm looking forward to, because I like to go out and do the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The craft.
I enjoy the craft. I like to go out and do the work. But is it good, useful for visual effects and things of that nature? Absolutely. Absolutely, because it saves you money. You could do more.
Yeah, and it's probably safer. I mean, the crash dummies, the stuntmen that you need, don't have.
You're still gonna need some of them, because you got to do things practically, but the enhancing of it, you know what I mean? Enhancing shots, that would take, people are gonna lose jobs, right? The things that would take a 10-man team. You don't need a 10-man team no more. And I'll tell you, from my thing with doing this docuseries, right? Like, I like to do special shots. I like to do orbital shots. I like to do shots like dolly shots, even when I'm doing doc stuff. You know what I mean? Because it just adds flavor to it. Man, I was like, so how am I going to do this? Because we're shooting almost 100 days. I don't have in my budget to have a 10-man crew every time I go out and shoot, right? Yeah. I was like, okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to get a piece of tech. That I can do all the things that I need to do, right? So I went out and DJI, I love DJI, right?
Yeah, like, big fan.
I'm a huge fan.
I mean, oh my God, they banned the drones, by the way.
Yeah, but I saw something that said Amazon put they unlocked the stores. They unlocked the stores and they selling them.
I don't know. Last time I checked, which was very recently, it was a no. I'm a huge fan of DJI. I was collecting those drones.
I love DJI.
They've been commercially available for the past 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I love them. And so I was like, okay, I worked with this camera called the Ronin 4D, DJI Ronin 4D, and I was like, and I worked with it, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'm going to purchase this for our docuseries. Right, I'm gonna get some prime lenses. I'm gonna use this, and I'm gonna be able to do my orbital shots without having to buy a Steadicam. I'm gonna be able to do my dolly type shots without having to have, a dolly and people pushing it. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do, and I bought it. I invested, into the whole rig, 25, 30K, but I was able to get all those fantastic in those shots that I needed, right? And that was a piece of tech that wasn't available. You know what I mean? Necessarily before, you know what I mean? That I could use. Yeah. So I'm a fan of technology, 100%. Right? Because it helped me do the things that I want within my budget.
I think that's because you're a creator, right? The same thing, right? You're an entrepreneur, right? The people that are not going to have any fear of AI taking over are going to be people that create. And that add value, and that make things, and that sell things.
Yep.
The people that are entrepreneurs. The people that on the other end of that, just the users, your experience is going to be affected by AI.
Yeah.
Your life is going to be affected by AI.
Absolutely.
You're the buyer.
You're the consumer.
Yeah,
you're the consumer. Yeah, you need to sell.
You need to sell.
Yep, you need to sell. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Like, I'm a fan of technology. I'll just say that out loud. I'm a fan of technology, and I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to use it to benefit my craft, but I'm not going to be like, I don't have a fear of it taking my job.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go and do my thing.
Yeah.
You can't stop what I'm doing, because I'm always going to do that, because it can't tell the Addison story.
It's going to be a counter movement to that. But like the way I'm starting to see, I think we're starting to get past like the hysteria of AI, and we're seeing like, okay, this is really, 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 really advanced. Bear with me, Google, right?
Okay.
It's like, when I say that, not that they're exactly the same, but that I remember when Google came out and people were like, you can learn anything.
Yeah.
You can know anything. It was very similar, right?
Yeah.
It was very like, if you put a word in a search engine, if you put a word in Google, it'll tell you everything about that. Then we kind of realized like, well, sometimes it lies. It just tells us like what other people have written about it, what is known about it. It doesn't tell us everything because everything isn't known, right, in the universe.
Right. No, it's not.
So the same thing like with AI, I think what we're starting to realize is that it's not replacing individuals per se. It's replacing individuals that are not using or don't know how to utilize the technology, or who are not willing to embrace the technology to see, it may wipe out, some cast members, but also what opportunity is it creating?
Right.
For those who understand it.
Right.
Because nobody really has time to sit down and understand it. So there's an opportunity right there.
I read something, what's the NVIDIA, the guy that does the chips. He was like, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, but he was like,
it's $5 trillion company.
Yeah, I know, right? But he was like, this AI is going to create so many millionaires. Like, he was like, people that know how to use this, it's going to create so many people that are going to just flourish. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I can't wait. Like, my son is back. I have a son. He's 23. He's back in Buffalo. We're starting a construction company. I'm like, okay, how is this? You know what I mean? Because I want to leave him something, right? I want him to, you know what I mean? To flourish in what he wants to do. So I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and let's do it, right? And so how is AI going to help us? It is going to help us in some way.
Yeah.
Right? So I got him researching. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And
that's also construction, the trades. These are things that AI can't really touch.
They can't. Electricians, plumbers.
You need somebody to climb up that chimney, right?
Yep.
Like, you need somebody to break down you need somebody to understand those circuits and actually to be able to do the physical labor.
Yeah.
And it's advanced technical labor that needs to be done. So this hysteria I think is going to blow over. It's powerful. I'm not saying it's not powerful. It's radically going to change our life. It is.
Absolutely.
It is. But
it's exponential growth now.
We're still gonna be living. Like, life is still gonna go on. Our concerns are still gonna be the same.
This probably is so far in advance. We used to say, we used to talk about movies, right? What's happening, right? So there was a movie with Joaquin Phoenix called Her, right? Where you could talk to your AI buddy, and he fell in love with her. He fell in love with his computer girl. Yeah. And in the scene in the movie, which was heartbreaking, man, it welled me up a little bit, where he was like, so how many people are you talking to right now? And she's like, oh, she didn't want to tell him. She was like, well, I'm talking to like 4 million people the same way I'm talking to you. He was like, what? He was like, what? And me and Chad used to say, that's the beginning. That's part 1. And then he said part 2 is Terminator. Right, where AI has now created robots and it's Terminator, and then part 3 is Matrix, where we're just like batteries now. We're being farmed out. Yes, we're being farmed. I don't see it going like that, but who the fuck knows? Yeah, who knows? Who the fuck knows? We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if the Earth is going to be destroyed by nuclear weapons. That's true. Who says just because it hasn't happened in the past doesn't mean it won't happen in the future? Yep. The way things are going, and that was also like one of the biggest impetus behind this project, right? Is how do we understand, how do we maintain our human agency in a world full of distractions, in a world that's changing, right? A world full of gaslighting and being fed narratives. What they call it now, glazing. 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 Oh yeah. Oh man. See, you got younger kids. So exactly. Like all this stuff. Like, damn, you're glazing. Stop glazing me. Yeah. Yep. You know what I mean? Oh, Dad, you're so cringe. You know what I mean? I'm like, cringe. Whatever. You're giving. Yes, you're giving cringe now. Yeah. You're giving cringe. Yeah. By the way, a lot of that slang they jack from us, though. Of course. They jack from us. Of course. Like, I'm like, you guys jack that from us. Yeah. But man, I don't know, man. Like, as much as I love technology, we don't know what's gonna happen. But at the end of the day, we can't stop it right now. Unless how we gonna stop it? It's too much money to be made. Yeah. It's too many people using it. It's just like money to be made. Topics I love. Yeah. Entrepreneur. And then for you, what things in the past, like when you first started out, that you wish you would have known being a film entrepreneur? That's a good question, bro. What I know being a film entrepreneur?
Because that business, I mean, it's such, again, it's such a murky business, right? Like no one, I don't know anything about it. Like I don't know how do you get money for a film?
Yeah, for me though, how I've always gotten money for films is me really building relationships. You know what I mean, bro? Like my whole thing was like when that party that you came to at my house was me building relationships with the people that were around me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when I was down in Atlanta working on Black Panther and all those Infinity War movies, every other weekend I was having a party for the producers, the cast, the crew. People would come out and party with me, but I was the host. So I'm like, making sure everybody's good, talking to everybody, like boom, 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 boom. People were getting to know me, right? So I'm building relationships, right? I'll be, so now when it's time for me to do my movie, I can call people and be like, hey, I got this going on. And so, let me put you in touch with this person. Let me put you in touch with that person. Like just being cool, being a good person, but then also being frontward thinking about like, okay, I got a network. You know what I mean? Like I got a network. And so I did a lot of that. And that's the reason I've been able to make movies, because I've created a network of people that support me. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
like,
but that's like kind of difficult for a lot of people right now, especially a lot of young men, right?
Yes.
Like, these guys, like the statistics out on them, like they don't drink, which I think is good. I think they do other things though.
They do
shrooms.
Yeah.
And a little marijuana.
Yeah, of course.
They do a lot of other stuff. They don't drink.
They don't. That's the thing, right? They don't drink.
Which I think drinking is very social. Right?
Absolutely.
Like, man, having a spirit with somebody, is it's great, right? I'm sure you can do that with marijuana, right? You share a piece. Probably the natives did that. Great. Okay. But also, they don't seem to be very social, right? They struggle actually with approaching women. Like all these women are walking around saying that they don't get approached.
Yep.
Also, I do remember them saying when we were younger, like we get approached too much. Stop catcalling. Now it's like we don't get approached at all.
Don't be a wolf.
Don't be a wolf. And then they don't get laid.
Yeah.
They're not having sex. Right, like they're
select few of them.
Select few of them
streamers
killing them.
The streamers are getting laid, bro.
Which also, by the way, if you would have told me 10, 20 years ago that guys that are streaming on a webcam were going to be the ones that are getting laid
and making a lot of money
and making a lot of cash, and they would have all the girls, I would have never believed you.
Right. They just live their lives like a reality show and create these little scenarios and people there
on their screens.
And they're interviewing people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting laid, but like the guys that are probably watching them aren't.
They're not.
They're
getting
just
laid.
living vicariously
about
through
like, whoa, what it's like to get laid.
Yeah.
Like, and so you talk about relationships being like one of the things that you need to understand, especially in a business that's very subjective, like Hollywood. You had to build relationships, man. Where does someone even start if they struggle with that? Like if they struggle with building relationships. We're not like that. I know that. And I don't mean to sound braggadocious. It's just not. I never knew people suffer from that, right? I feel like you just open your mouth, you go talk to people, but there's a lot of insecurity, there's anxiety, right? These things about approaching, and I'm sure we've had instances where like, we wish we would have just like been a lot more forward. I wish I would have just said what I thought, or like, definitely, but like the idea of not talking or feeling like I can't never really something that probably registered in your mind.
Yeah.
How do you? What advice do you have for people that are going through that?
I get it though,
because it's real. It's very real for these young guys.
Yeah, because I get it, because I've been in rooms when I was younger, in my early 20s, and I was like, what do I have to offer? I'm in the rooms with like Will Smith and this and that, and what do I go say to these people? What do I say? I need to have more to offer, right? And so it was hard. Being in rooms like that when I was so young, I was like, because I don't know, what I mean? What? I'm an actor. I'm an actor. I want to be in your movies, man. Like, put me on. You know what I mean? Here's my reel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I was in Miami making movies when I was younger, and I waited outside of Miami University for Spike Lee to come out, hand him my tape, my acting reel tapes. I was hustling and stuff like that.
Yeah. But that's also something right there, though.
Yeah.
See, that's something that you just said, right? Like, yeah, it's a little cringe, right? It's like those mixtape rappers that used to be like, hey, hold on, I got a verse for you.
Yo, listen to this real quick.
It's a little cringe, but guess what? You get out there and you learn, like, maybe I shouldn't do this like this.
Right.
But the motivation behind it is correct. The motivation behind that to get to Spike Lee and show him your work, that was actually very correct.
Yes, because I'm trying to get on. You know what I mean? I'm out here hustling. And so, you know, and I understand though, like being young, but it's like not everybody is sitting at home in front of their computer screen. Near our spaces where people are doing what you do. And if you want to be in that craft, if you want to be in that artwork, if you see your destiny here, you got to find those spaces. Right? Yeah. The internet is so big and large, and there's so many things going on that you can find out, and you can go and pop up and crash and do all that. You got to do it.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't do it, you'll regret it, right? Either you
got to do it, right? Even if you flop. And I feel like when you're younger, you get a lot of special credence, right? Like, people they look at you like, oh, young cat, don't know any better. Like, use that.
Yes, because either it's going to be day one or one day. Right? It's gonna be day one for you to do it, or you're just gonna be talking about it. Like, one day I'm gonna get out there and it's like, okay, all right, shut up. You're never gonna do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know?
One day or day one.
That's it. It's gonna be one of those.
I like that.
You know?
Like that. Yeah. Like going out there, getting that rejection. I think that's one of the reasons why they have difficulty in relationships. They're afraid of a no, and it's like the no's is what make you better, right?
Absolutely.
The failure is truly what makes you better. Feeling that, not numbing yourself from that, right? Not medicating yourself with drugs and alcohol, marijuana, and drinking, right? Like, actually feeling that, because then you learn how to refine your approach.
And I tell my daughter this all the time. I'm like, look, you have to learn from your failures. Your failures are what's going to make you great. If you're just going to cry and you can't learn from your failures, then why are you doing this? You got to be willing to learn and know that it's not going to be perfect every time, because nothing is perfect. It's life, okay? You try your best and you may fail. You just get up and keep going. As cliche as it is, the shit is real, man. Yeah. It's so real, you know? Everything.
Cliches are cliches for a reason.
Yes.
Like, just like stereotypes.
Yep. For real though.
For real though.
Yo,
it's a reason. It's something true about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, man, you know, I lost my point there I was making, but it's like, you know.
No, you were just saying that, like, you have to make the attempts. Like, you can't just, like, and it's okay to cry, especially at first. You might cry because it's uncomfortable. But again, what happens throughout your life is that what makes you an adult, right, and a successful adult, is that you're used to the failure. You know how to deal with it. Like, it's not personal. Like, okay, I'll just try it a different way. That's what you need. You need failure so that it makes you brave.
Yes, and I tell my team too, when we're going out, when we're talking to people, pitching, I'm like, listen, we got to play the numbers game here. Right?
We need to do volume.
You know, we got to play the numbers game. Right? When I used to hang out with my my white bros, like, you know what I mean? They'd be talking to girls. It's like, it's a numbers game, man. It's a numbers game. I'm like, all right. I see what y'all doing. It is. They just be talking to every girl. I'm like, okay.
Every girl. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Need those guys. You need to be around those guys that just like, listen, man, it's a method to this madness.
Absolutely.
We need to do volume. It's all about volume, bro.
Man, keep going. Keep thriving, keep going, because you're going to eventually get to it. Yes, you're going to eventually get to something. You know what I mean? Absolutely. I was in a PGA workshop, and, you know, I had this TV show. I had another co-creator that we was like, oh, this TV show, we're going to sell this TV show here. But it wasn't about us selling the TV show. It was about us making the connections that then were going to help us with another project. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't about that particular thing, right? Because sometimes you go into things like this thinking like, oh, it's got to be like this. And my wife used to be like, Addison, you got to be like, because, you know, I get so when I'm in my project mode,
and that competitive streak comes out,
I
just crush everyone.
I just get tunnel vision. You know what I mean?
Kill it.
Like, you know, she's like, you gotta make sure you can see a little bit over here because you may miss something.
Yeah.
And so when I started doing that, you know, more often, I would another blessing would come into my life. You know what I mean? And so I was like, okay, let me do that more often.
Yeah.
You know, not let me look at things so in that linear fashion. It's got to be, you know, let me look outside and look at more holistically, you know, in a circle, in a way, like, you know, things come back, you know what I mean? To where you plant a seed over here, and next thing you know, you seeing something that's right here that you want, but it's something over here that's coming back to tell you something that you may need. It's going to give you something that you may need. And now, like, I open my life up like that, and like everything has just been amazing.
Oh, man, bro. Somehow, I don't know, we ran out of...
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we're getting close. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I was looking at the wrong number. So I was like, okay. All right. Well, damn. This is good.
Yeah, this was, man.
Good,
it was a lot of fun, man.
Like, really good. I had questions, and I noticed that, man, when we just talk about the things that matter to us, like, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy, bro. It's easy. Like, it's just easy, man. And this is something that's like, just like very important to hear your story and what you've had to share with us. Where can people find you? Like, you got work, you working on the docuseries.
I got a docuseries, Just One Before I Die. We are in talks with one of the streamers. I'm not going to say right now, but it's going to be out at the top of the new year. You know, I got a new movie that we're casting. I've been working on called Blythe. It's a reimagining of Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. We're starting to cast up for that to go film that in the summer. Just, man, doing that, man, and working with my family, establishing my family. You know, my children. You know, and they can find me online, AddisonHenderson.com, Real Addison on Instagram, also on X. Yeah, man.
Man, my brother.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah.